Larry Holmes defends his title for the 16th time against Scott Frank. Atlantic City, 10th of September, 1983.
So we're underway in round one.
Frank figures to come out and try his stuff while he's got a chance. Larry wants to put him away as soon as he can. He doesn't want to risk having to stick around. This is a night of upsets, fraught with upsets here.
There are many who have felt that Scott Frank's only chance would be to try and get Holmes involved in a street-like brawl, but Holmes said that won't matter.
Holmes got a lot of fat around the midsection. It would be hard to carry that for 12 rounds.
Of course, Larry says it just makes him stronger. Larry Holmes, when at his prime, very, very smooth with that excellent left jab, followed up usually by the short right cross. Not a devastating puncher, but has that good knockout record. And always piles up points with the jab.
Larry looking to sucker Scott Frank with that right hand. As soon as he comes in, he triggers it off. He missed him the first two times he's thrown it. If it lands flush on the chin, could be tough for Mr. Scott.
Hold it. Okay. And there are some boxing people who felt that Holmes did not properly train for tonight's fight because he has no fear of Scott Frank. So similar to the situation against Lucien Rodriguez, was a question concerning Holmes' concentration. But does it matter?
We'll soon see. Holmes' jab is starting to find its mark. Early in a fight, Holmes dominates with his jab.
And we're less than a minute left in this first round. Oh, good right hand by Holmes. That's the most telling blow of this first round.
That's what he was looking to do, sucker that right hand, and he's loading it up again. There it went. There it went again.
Nailing Scott Frank. Connecting through the gloves of Frank.
Frank's waiting too long. Frank's got to fight. He's got to be throwing things, or else he is going to get cleaned out.
So Larry Holmes doing whatever he has wanted to do in this opening round, using that jab very effectively. And Larry Holmes out for round two to meet up with Scott Frank, who was told in his corner, you have to throw more than one punch.
He must throw in bunches, or else Larry will pick him apart with that right hand. It was a good opening round for the champion, whose brisk jab is doing its job as it usually does. Larry looking to drop that right hand and finish the fight as early as he can. Look at the fierceness of that jab.
Larry Holmes getting in with that jab right from the opening bell, and may make contact under the chin of Frank, and he does cut easily. He's coming off that cut sustained during training camp, which raised several questions.
Well, as Scott Frank said in the interview, it doesn't make any difference to him whether it's cut, and Larry Holmes said, I'm not aiming for it, I just want to knock him out fast. It looks like that's what Holmes wants to do. He doesn't care about the cut.
Good right hand by Holmes, looking much more aggressive than he did against Lucien Rodriguez. Of course, Frank providing more of an inviting target than Rodriguez.
Well, he's standing still, and if he doesn't come in punching 2 and 3, he's just going to get picked apart. His chance is a street fight, and he's certainly not going to get it sitting around waiting for the punches to land.
No sign of any intent of getting involved in that type of brawl by Frank.
No.
Midway point, round 2, scheduled for 12, and it's been target practice for Holmes.
Scott's corner has said, don't wait for him. Punch 2 and 3 times. Scott has not done that. He's got to come in, not only behind the jab, but throwing the right hand and a hook after it.
Frank just lunging with his left, but no shot of getting any impact at all.
And a great shot at getting hit with a counter right hand, which Larry is beginning to measure him with again.
Less than a minute left. Round 2. It's been a cover-up round for Scott Frank.
Larry is sweating profusely. The heat is rather unbearable under these lights. First 2 rounds have been brisk, good rounds for Larry Holmes.
And coming up to 10 seconds left in the second round. Crowd responding because Frank did connect with a right hand, but Holmes not bothered by it. Of course, most of those 12 knockouts were earlier in his career. That has not been the case in recent years. 2 good right hands by Scott Frank, landing on Larry Holmes in the final seconds of the second round.
Scott Frank is starting to have a lot of trouble with a left eye that's beginning to close up. You can see it turning black and blue. It will be closed in about another round or so. Those jabs of Holmes landing right on target. Ace Murata in the corner of Scott Frank has been putting that cold compress, that cold iron end swell on it. And I'm afraid it's too late for even end swell. That eye will be closed in about another round or so.
Holmes doubling up with the left hand, then try to connect with the right.
His corner got excited, Scott Frank, because he landed 2 strong right hands at the end of the round, and it looked like that they had reached Holmes.
Holmes countering off the left hand of Frank. Larry Holmes opened up by painting Scott Frank with the jab. Good right hand, and that rocked Frank. This is round 3, minute gone by. Larry Holmes defending for the 16th time. Marv Albert with the fight doctor. Bernie Pacheco. We're live from Atlantic City. Every time Frank gets close to landing, the crowd responds.
Now Larry's in command of this fight up to now. No question about it.
Good uppercut by Holmes.
Nice. 2 right-hand combinations to the side and then the uppercut. Trickle of nose coming from the blood of Scott, from the nose of Scott Frank. You can see the eyes closing up. Although for some reason Larry Holmes has abandoned that stinging jab.
And there it is back again, followed by the right hand.
Larry doing a very workmanlike job on Scott Frank. Wonder what thoughts are going through the mind of Marvis Frazier and Joe Frazier as they watch this workmanlike exhibition of the champion Larry Holmes.
Marvis Frazier slated to face Holmes in November. And we approach 15 seconds left, round 3. And there are the Fraziers looking on. Final seconds, 3rd round. Look at the left eye of Scott Frank as he comes out for round 4.
And there's a terrific absence in his corner. Lou Duva, the great motivator and corner man who was supposed to work in his corner, has not come in. And we wonder what significance that has. He's not being motivated in the corner. Good right hand by Larry Holmes.
Oh, and the left hand following up.
Larry wanting to stop this fight right now. He wants to get his knockout.
Keep in mind, Holmes has not put anyone down since he dropped Jerry Cooney, and that was back in round 2. Cooney did not go down in that 13th and final round, so that's some 50 rounds of boxing through Cooney, Cobb, Rodriguez, and Witherspoon. So Holmes would love the knockdown.
Holmes is going for that knockdown. He's got all the power of the old Holmes going. He's as early in the fight. He's warmed up, and he is letting fly the old Larry Holmes power in that right hand.
Scott Frank looking to protect the left eye, has the glove up high.
He should look to protect his entire body. He's getting creamed by Larry Holmes almost every round. Thus far, that cut, much advertised that was going to open, did not, and several crunching uppercuts have hit there. Larry slowing down some, wanting to work the body so his hands will come down. No offense whatsoever on the part of Scott Frank, however. That well-advertised attack, that street fight that he said he was going to get into, has not materialized.
Oh, the jab setting up the right, but Holmes not able to connect that time. As we approach a minute remaining in the round.
All Larry's trying to do there is get that arm down. He's holding it way up, as you pointed out, Marv, and he's trying to get it down by the attack to the flank.
It has been a very quiet bout for the referee, Tony Perez. His presence has not been needed.
I have no idea what Scott Frank is waiting for, because if he doesn't launch an attack pretty soon, he's just going to be beaten down. It's possible that he misses a Lou Duva in the corner, telling him to get out there and go and do and die.
Well, Freddie, reportedly, Lou Duva had another falling out with Frank. There have been a few of those in the career of Scott Frank. All right, we'll be visiting the corner of Scott Frank, who is taking a hammering here at the end of the round, although Scott says he's all right.
You're just walking in doing nothing, Scott, and that's the problem, all right? You got to use the jab coming in.
Take a nice deep breath. Hold it in and then out. Come on.
You got to use the jab.
Put some Vaseline in the nose, Tommy.
Yeah.
Well, Joe Fariello in the
You
corner
got
of
to use the jab.
Scott Frank, capturing it when he
Come on
said,
now.
Scott, you're doing nothing. Fariello goes back to the Customado days with a large heavyweight fighter by the name of Buster Mathis. This is round 5. And at the end of round 4, Holmes able to successfully unload on Frank.
It looked like he was going to put him out. If he had enough time at the end of that round, he might have. The combinations were crisp. They were landing and jolting Scott Frank, although he tried to make light of it. Make it look like he wasn't really getting hurt.
It has been a shutout thus far for Holmes, scoring on the 10-point ball. Oh, good right hand by Holmes. Scott Frank says it wasn't anything. This out of the pages of his bout against Ronaldo Snipes, but he is getting walloped.
He's a better actor than he is a fighter. Holmes feels it. He feels his knockout is right there.
As this is out of the pages of Tex Cobb now.
Oh, look at that right hand.
Was hit by the right hand of Frank, and now Frank is covering up. Tony
Right in
Perez can't give a standing 8, but he's counting it out.
His eye is, he's been thumbed. He's talking about he's being thumbed.
Scott Frank claiming he's thumbed, and Tony Perez says, okay, continue. But Frank covering up the eye. That's it, says Tony Perez, all over. And Scott Frank does not agree. He's claiming he was thumbed. There is a standing 8 that can be used. Tony Perez, not one who believes in the standing 8, so he did not use it. Instead, he started a count, and then when he saw that Frank was complaining about receiving the thumb of the eye, he did stop the count and then said continue, and now Perez has called it. So it is all over in round 5, and Larry Holmes having his way opening bell with no problem at all, throwing a blank at Scott Frank. And we'll get another look at those final punches of the bout. You see, Holmes has Frank trapped in the corner. There's a right hand that got Frank in the left eye. He'd been having problems with the eye from earlier in the fight, and now Frank looks to cover up, and right here he says he was thumped. And Perez stepped in, not allowing Holmes to unleash. Frank says, I was thumped. Perez checks it out, starts the count. We'll get another look at this. And here's Frank trying to express the fact that he was thumped. First, the overhand right by Frank that missed. There's the punch by Holmes that got into the eye of Frank. As I said, Tony Perez could have utilized the standing 8, but he is one who says he does not believe in it. And so he did not go for it. So, that's the story here in Atlantic City. The official time, 1 minute, 28 seconds of round 5. Larry Holmes stopping Scott Frank. And the champion is alongside Ferdy in the ring.
Why they sitting us up like that?
Congratulations.
Thank you, Doc.
A knockout, which you have been long looking for.
Oh, yeah, well, I had a little bit to prove this time. You know, I only had 4 weeks getting ready, but I got ready. Scott Frank deserved the shot. We gave him a shot. Strong, determined young man. If he stays at it, work at it, Freddie, you'll hear a lot more from him.
Now, what do you think about his claim you thumbed him? He went down with a thumb and he couldn't get up and so forth.
Well, you know, fighters always find an excuse when a good punch lands in the eye. I mean, from the first round, his eye was puffing, swollen, and, you know, he needed an excuse, and he got it, and he got on out. But, you know, that's boxing. You know, some guys can take it better than others, and some can't.
At the end of one of those rounds, he landed 2 crunching right hands. Did they bother you at all?
Oh, he hit me high on the head. It shook me up just a second, but it didn't really hurt me like it really hurt me, but it shook me up a little bit. I knew I got hit.
Do you think it was smart of you to let Marvis Frazier in here and watch this?
Well, hey, Marvis Frazier still thinks he can whoop me and his father and his whole family. But let him keep thinking, you know what? I'm better all the time. I'm better with age. I'm smarter. I don't have to move as much. I serve my energy. And Marvis Frazier will get knocked out just the same way. And it's up to his father to put him in there, and our contracts are signed, and we're ready to do it again.